Right now at Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory, save 50 to 70% off everything in stores and online. That's right, 50 to 70% off everything. Celebrate the 4th with dresses from $19.99 at Banana Republic Factory. And at Gap Factory stores, tees start at $4.99. Plus, save an extra 40% off clearance. Sale ends Tuesday. Search our store locator for your nearest Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory store or shop us online.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to No BS Hiring Advice Radio on blogtalkradio.com. This is a time where I like to spend about 15 minutes speaking with you about some element of hiring, recruiting, staffing, because frankly, I think many of you find that finding new employees is hard. It's complicated. It's difficult. I think the best way to describe it is you kiss a lot of frogs to get to that prince. And what I try to do on this show is take some of the mythology out of the process, simplify different aspects of it down to core elements, because frankly, it doesn't have to be so hard, difficult, painful, or take so long. I think many of you have established processes and habits that are making it harder for you than it needs to be. So I'm going to take about 15 minutes. I think I'm going to be doing this show regularly on Wednesdays at noon. I'll see if I'll be able to hold to that schedule or we'll need to shift. But I think Wednesdays at noon is going to be my time for doing No BS hiring advice, because I think it's useful for you folks to hear exactly the best way to do it and learn about some of the mistakes you're making. Now, this show is brought to you with two sponsors. The first is Audible. If you go to audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter, you'll be able to, if you take out a trial subscription, you'll be able to download a free audio book as part of the trial. Again, go to audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter for your free download. And I know you like audio. You're listening to my podcast, right? Also, my second sponsor is consultingassignments.com. That is a site where you can find and fill consulting assignments, full-time consulting positions, temp to perm, and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world completely free. Posting a job, posting a resume is free. Searching jobs and resumes is also free, as is the ability to contact one another. The only thing the site charges for is if you want to feature a job or feature a resume. It is a whopping $10 for 30 days. And if you're going to do it for more than one job, they have programs that take it down even lower than that. So again, that site is consultingassignments.com. So I thought I would do a show focused on recruiting passive job applicants, because in my 40-some-odd years of doing recruiting, I've been very good at that. And I know there are lots of different tools out there that allow you to reach out to passive applicants, but often your process makes it harder than it needs to be. So I want to first start by saying, what is a passive applicant? And if you want to be candid with yourself, it's an applicant that you haven't gotten through a job board. That's really the definition of it. Now, in theory, what it is the person who isn't actively looking for work. And thus, you believe that that person is superior to the one that is actively looking for work. I won't go through the reasons, but I know that's the public face of recruiting passive applicants. Now, as someone who helped to create that myth, I'll start by saying just because a person's out of work doesn't make them less competent than one that is working. And number two is, in point of fact, like I suggested earlier, the only difference between the two is you may not know that that passive applicant is looking for a position because they've hidden their resume on that job board by not putting their name on it and using one of those long coded names. Or the search string that you ran to locate them didn't turn up the correct answer with their resume. So when all is said and done, the passive applicant is just one that you couldn't find on a job board. So you're off there recruiting and using a variety of different tools, and I'm not here to talk with you about using Google and running search strings. There's plenty of time for that on subsequent shows. But for today, I just want to talk with you about how you communicate with a passive applicant. And it comes from a conversation or conversations I've had with job hunters and how they're spoken with, and I know how I speak with the individual. But I also know the difference with which I seek to engage with someone who isn't actively looking for work. Now, part of what I've tried to do over the course of years is to spend a lot of time providing information about myself and my thought process about job hunting and hiring, I must say, and making it very visible. So I've got a website at thebiggamehunter.us with an enormous amount of content available for job hunters and for hiring managers and HR professionals and small business owners. You probably all know that already. So if someone is contacted by me about a search, the normal behavior these days, different than when I started in the field many years ago, is they'll do a Google search for me. They'll go to my website. They'll go exploring. And as someone said to me yesterday, the reason I called you back is because your website was not a typical recruiter website. I said, how so? Knowing full well what the answer was. And they said, you have an enormous amount of content to help job hunters and hiring managers do a better job. You also have places that I could, in theory, post my resume to and you'd never get a fee. And that gives me the idea that you are legitimately trying to help people. It happens to be true, but that's part of how I try to communicate to job hunters. I don't want them to believe that I'm there just for the transaction. I want them to believe, know, and be convinced by my website that I'm there to help. And if you haven't visited thebiggamehunter.us, you really should, because whether you're a third-party recruiter who's watching this show just to find out what my thinking is about passive applicants, or someone who's in corporate HR, or is a hiring manager, or is a small business owner, you always want to be communicating to people who you want to know about your firm in ways that they're going to be impressed. And to do it not by saying, hi, we need to talk because, hey, look at my website. I've got good stuff there. And as a matter of fact, I know you'll be impressed. No, it's not about going out and aggressively selling. It's casually providing information to organizations. So, and individuals, I should say. So from the standpoint of where the starting place is communicating with your audience with tons of great information about your firm so that they can research it privately before they get back in touch with you. Where can you do this? I mentioned the website, but I also use YouTube. I do things on Facebook, on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn publishing platform in particular is a new place. On my company page, there's a lot of information that I put out there so people get an impression of me. Then, when you're reaching out, are you sending an in-mail? Are you sending an email? Or are you calling? If you choose to send an in-mail, it's a diluted first impression. If you have to send an in-mail because you don't have one of those utilities that might draw up the person's email address, like 360 Social or Connect 6 or Connectifier, if you don't have one of those tools that might offer you an email address for you to reach out to them outside of LinkedIn, try calling instead. But the first thing is, if you want to send that in-mail, spend the time to craft a personal message, not something that sounds like you're pushy and corporate. So that in-mail might say something to the effect of, hi, my name is, I do recruiting for so-and-so. I'm doing a search for a manager within my organization who's trying to hire someone with such and such background. You provide them with a URL to the position description on your website or some other place, so they have a chance to see the job description. I saw and obviously you don't put that 90-letter URL there. Shorten it using bit.ly or one of the other link shorteners. Say, I saw your profile on LinkedIn. It looked interesting for this role, but I don't presume to know if you're exploring other things. But like I said, your background looks interesting. Would you have a few minutes to chat? If so, at what number can I reach you, and when might I be able to call? Always go for the phone number at that point. Why? Because you don't want them making decisions without the best information. And you and I both know that job description has been changed 100 times since it was initially approved. You want to have the dialogue. You want them to hear your voice and start trusting you that much more. So let them hear your voice. They respond, let's say, with an email address. Or, no. Here's my phone number. Call me Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. You roll your eyes up back into your head. You write back and say, I'd love to do it, but frankly, I have the kids that night. I'd like to spend some time with my family because I'm working hard. Is there a possibility we could schedule a time at? And then you offer them a lunch hour time. They say, sure. You schedule it, and then you call on time. You put a big smile on your face when you make the phone call and say, hi, this is Jeff Altman, and thanks for giving me your phone number. I look forward to speaking with you. We'd exchanged emails about this role, and I want to have a chance to chat with you. Is this still a good time? They'll say yes. If they say no, when would be better? Again, courteous and respectful of their time. You chat with them about the job, and you're very forthright about the role. And then you start talking with them about their background, keep their LinkedIn profile up on your screen. You determine that they're a fit. You might at that point say, by some chance, do you happen to have a current resume? If they say no, you've got a decision. I'll tell you what I do. And that is, no, we can work with the LinkedIn profile for now. Do you consider that an adequate representation of your background? Yes. If they say no, could you update your resume? And you're looking for the best information about their background. Now, at that point, I'll send them the job description again so that they can tailor the job tailor their resume to the job description. So once I have the resume, or if I'm acting on the LinkedIn profile because it's meaty, I'll start working with that and craft it into a resume. I'll get it to a hiring manager, but clearly what you don't want to be doing is taking a lot of time. Number two is what you don't want to be doing is saying, in the meantime, could you go to our applicant tracking system and complete the online application? Why? Because right off the bat, what you're doing is turning them into meat. You are doing what third-party recruiters have been accused of doing for the longest time, and that is commoditizing people into garbage. You don't want to do that. You want to keep treating them as someone special. You might in that phone call get their home address and upload the profile and their home address and phone number into your applicant tracking system for them. It's a courtesy, but it saves time for everyone and is respectful of them because they're not out looking for work. And once they have the resume, who's to say they don't start submitting it for other positions? Do you really want to be the cause of them looking for something else? I don't think so. You want them zeroed in on your job. So now that you have that resume or working with the profile and you have a hiring manager interested in talking with them, what you want to be doing is ensuring that that hiring manager is spending time trying to connect with them as a human being. So in the first phone interview, you want the hiring manager to not just simply talk about their background as it fits the role. You want them talking about themselves as a person, some of their successes, some of the expectations that they would have of that person once they're on board, and you try to have them make a personal connection. So again, the first two calls are very human in the communication style. It's not about, okay, let me ask you 14 tough questions and beat you up in this call. No. Who will want to do that if they clearly are looking, they're not actively looking for work? Now, in the third interview, when they're scheduled, you make a point of saying, we need to assess your experience and skills in greater depth. So this one is going to be a meatier interview. So by that I mean MEATIER, not MEOTEOR. Interview. And you just tell them, if there are, we're going to go through some of the work that you've done aggressively to make sure that we understand your capabilities and experience in greater detail. If they're in IT, you're going to say, we're going to conduct a technical interview. In engineering, much the same thing. You get the idea. Have them at that point, you're able to evaluate and assess them effectively in order to ensure that they're a good fit. And again, a human quality to the conversation. That's what you need to be doing all the time. A human quality to the conversation. And you're also going to be able to confirm that they are interested in your role before you go any steps further. If they aren't, you might just simply say, could you tell me why the lack of interest? They'll talk about it, and you can then say, could I offer you some information? Maybe we didn't communicate with you accurately in the course of our discussions. If the answer is no, I'm happy where I am, wish them well, and then ask for the referral. If they are interested in going further, you tell them about the next steps in the process. You do it in a human way. You don't do it as that pushy, aggressive, bullying type of individual that too many organizations and too many third-party recruiters obviously conduct themselves as. You want to be out there being courteous to everyone and then move it forward. So that's the process, and obviously we could talk about the job offer, but I don't think I have to educate you about extending a job offer. I think when all is said and done, passive job applicants cannot be treated and should not be treated as though they're commodities. You want to be in a position where you're treating them with even more respect than the resume that's tossed over the transom that active job applicants do. And ensure that they have a great experience of your firm, because even if you don't hire them now, you want them to be open to you at some point in the future. So this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I hope you found this show helpful. I hope you found this video helpful. Now, I want to encourage you to come over to my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. I've got a lot of good content there for you that will help you do an even better job of staffing, recruiting, and that's whether you're an HR professional, hiring manager, or small business owner. And also, sign up for a complimentary subscription to No BS Hiring Advice Easy, which I publish twice monthly with advice for you to help you do an even better job of staffing. I have information about my books and guides to job hunting if you happen to be in that mode. Matter of fact, you can pay whatever you want for them at my website. So pay something, please, but you can pay whatever you want. So come over to thebiggamehunter.us and go explore. If you are trying to fill positions, I'd love to help you. Send me an email at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Give me an idea of the nature of the position. Give me an idea when you might be available. I'd love to help you firm staff positions. And if we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request at linkedin.com/in/thebiggamehunter. I accept connection requests from people all over the world, except if you look like a spammer to me, or except if you're a third-party recruiter. Then I won't do it. So this is Jeff Altman. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Hope you have a great day. Take care.
Right now at Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory, save 50 to 70% off everything in stores and online. That's right, 50 to 70% off everything. Celebrate the 4th with dresses from $19.99 at Banana Republic Factory. And at Gap Factory stores, tees start at $4.99. Plus, save an extra 40% off clearance. Sale ends Tuesday. Search our store locator for your nearest Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory store or shop us online.
Why do I use ParkWiz? Because I like booking the closest space at the lowest rate no matter where I'm going in the city. It's a no-brainer. I park with peace of mind and save cash every single time. Get the app and start parking awesome with ParkWiz.